Alrighty, so today we are going to be going over the Part 2 10th Anniversary LRs, and more specifically, the best team setups for all three of these LRs. Now, I have to note right off the bat that a lot of these, or all three of these characters in specific, are going to be on a lot of teams. So what we're going to try and do more specifically in this specific video is focus on the massive buffs that the 220% leader skills are going to be giving, but we will be focusing on some 200% leader skills as well. So let me know down below which characters you have, which teams you like running them on, and all that fun stuff, and let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with Gogeta. I'm so used to saying Vegito from part 1, but Gogeta's team in specific. You guys can see we're over here on the private server just to show all of the different options, that way I'm not missing anybody. But what are we going to be looking at for this character in specific? That is going to be the Successors, Fused Fighters, or Pure Saiyans team. This leader skill is still very good because of Pure Saiyans and Fused Fighters. Successors is okay, but not really what we're looking for in specific. So this is going to be one of the better setups for him, and this is going to be the first team that we're going to look at. Obviously, their own team, so you can run 2 of them and get the maximum buff for them. So what is this first team option going to be? You guys can see we have a pretty big roster here of characters. First and foremost, I think one of the more important characters you want to get is Super Saiyan 4 Goku here. If you have him, he's going to fit on the team very nicely, being able to take away super attacks and such in turn 4. And then if you need it, you will have access with low HP, you will have access to that giant form as well. So very valuable, support, all of those fun things. This is going to be a character that fits in very well for that. So make sure you want to bring him. And then if you do have Vegito as well, obviously Vegito is a must run character. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I think that this setup works very well for them. Looking at some other really good options, and we will look at backups here in a little bit. If you just kind of want to go top of the line in each spot, I think that Gotenks is going to be fitting into that criteria of being like one of the best characters in the game still for a must-run character. Just continuing to look at this as well, there's not as many must-run characters on this setup in specific, because you guys can see that we are missing access to a certain STR LR. We'll be talking a little bit more about him in a moment here, but don't have access to him. So if you need some backup options, I think AGL MUI works fine. Tech Ultra Instinct Goku works very well as well, but if you want to take off Tech UI because he's just selling you too much, I think Tech UI Goku is a fine fill-in. And then if you also want to run something else, the issue with this kind of setup here is there's way too much tech, and you're focusing way too much on one specific setup, or one specific typing. So if you want to sort of add some more typing variety, I think Evolution Blue Vegeta fits in very nicely to what we're trying to do here. And again, like what else could we do for like STR, right? I think that could potentially help. Like STR, I think in this specific setup is not the best. I think Angel Vegeta could work really well if you want like a physical character in this spot. But there you go, right? This is the Gogeta leader skill for this specific setup. I think that this one is a little bit trickier. So let's go into the second option, and I'm sure you guys know what it is. Okay, so now we're literally just going over here and switching this over to the Vegito leader skill. So we're just going to go right here, put Vegito in the leader spot, and this is going to be a little bit better because we have access to some better characters that the Successors category does not have. So Vegito, Gogeta, duh. Right? Get those 2 on the team, you're good to go. And then another must-run character, if you have them, is Beast Gohan. Now, looking at this one right here, these 3, some of the best characters in the game. I like to run Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. I think that he is a fun character, but if you are not a fan of the design for this guy, you could easily just run Super Saiyan 3 Goku as well. Put him in that spot, bring Gotenks, and then the 6th spot is sort of just like a free space where you just bring the character that is most suited for an event, right? It's short form like Battle Hardened Foes, you bring AGL UI Goku, right? If you want to run like another fusion rotation, you could bring Tech Gogeta, you could bring Tech Broly into these potential spots, right? Lots and lots of options here. This Frieza and Goku could also be used. I think that they're a little bit tricky. Just based on the way that they're designed, they're not going to be like a perfect option, but it is a 10th anniversary LR. Somebody else that you could also run would be Evolution Blue Vegeta, or you could run the Family Kamehameha Gohan here. Granted that there's a lot of Kamehameha, and there's also all superclass allies, so that does help and getting them where they need to be. Some other backups include Angel Vegeta on this specific setup, right? The Tech Broly we already talked about, very nice fill-in for teams. Tech UI, again, a very nice fill-in. But then once we kind of get out of here, it's a little bit tricky when it comes to LRs. But if we come down to TUR, some other good options would be Super Easy A Super Vegito. And if we scroll down a little bit more, we have a Super Easy A STR Gogeta, wherever he may be. right there. And then we're also going to have some easy A options, right? Like the Int Super Saiyan 2 to Super Saiyan 3 Goku. I think that's still a pretty damn good character. The physical Super Saiyan 3 Goku, the transforming one, right here. This is a really good character as well. So lots of good options right now. When it comes to base TURs, it is a little bit more tricky just at this stage in the game because a lot of them have just been power crept out. There are still some good options, but the TURs are a little bit more for the extreme class side of things right now. Specifically, I think like the Boo setup is like very TUR focused, and then there are characters like Daima Goku. I forgot to mention him because I'm just not used to running him, but Daima Goku is also an extremely good option for this team, so we'll just kind of put him here in the filler spot there. So those are the two best teams for Gogeta and Vegito. If you want to run them on like a Super Saiyan setup, I think that could work as well. We could just kind of quickly go over that. Super Saiyans, and then we want this would be under the Super Saiyan Trio leader skill. So you're also going to be wanting Power of Wishes, and then you're also going to want Desperate Struggle or All Out Struggle right here. Do something like that, and then you have access to some really good characters as well. So if you want to set it up like this, you potentially can. So we have the Super Saiyan Trio. Daima Goku would fit on this one as well. Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, I definitely want to run him on this team. This is just giving you access to the Super Saiyan Trio, so something like this is going to usually work out pretty well for you. And then if you just want to put Daima Goku on this setup, I also think this one is going to be really good. Now when it comes to, I can't look through my box, but here we go. So something like that, I think these are some of the best teams for Gogeta. Let's move on to Gohan. Alrighty, so we already went over the Vegito setup, so I'm not going to include that one in here, but he fits on the Gogeta setup and the Super Saiyan Trio lead. So those are going to be two really good teams for him. We'll go ahead and move off of those. And first and foremost, obviously, when a character is a Carnival lead for 220%, you could just go with his team, right? So Gohan, full power, 220%. So we are just here on the full power category. Getting access to Beast Gohan is very nice, but you guys can see this one is nowhere near as like perfectly set up as the other one. So Tech Broly is going to work pretty well for full power. I think that Evolution Blue Vegeta, wherever he may be, I think this character works very well for this specific setup. Then you can kind of look through the easy A's and then sort of just find where you're going to want to fill in with this team, right? It is a little bit tricky once you get out of like these four, right? There's still really good options on these teams, but it just kind of does get a little bit funky, right? Like you can see we're already to the TURs and it's like, like these characters are all right, these guys are all right, right? So I think AGL Broly 100% can work. This would be somebody that you could like pair up with Tech Broly. You do like a Beast and Super Saiyan 2 rotation, and then you set that up, right? But something else that you could potentially do, I think that the 10-year anniversary LR right here, this is going to be a little bit weird because you can't fully commit to either superclass or extreme class. So I would probably stay away from this character unless you're going like a full superclass version of this team. I think if you wanted to go full superclass, what I would do is take this guy off and this guy off, and then use Namek Goku and then Family Kamehameha Gohan. I think that's kind of how I would set that one up, but it is a little bit trickier than the last two, right? I think this setup works very well, but it is going to be a little bit tricky. So 220% for Gohan. I think that this is something that you want to take advantage of if you want to run double of him. But again, it's obviously just probably going to be in your best interest to have one of this character and put him on the Vegito-led team. I think that's just going to be the best setup for him in specific. Let's go ahead and move on. The next team I want to focus on is going to be the Miraculous Awakening setup. This is going to be mainly superhero focused as well. This is going to put a double Beast Gohan setup, so in real practice, this team is going to work extremely well, as you're going to have two Beast Gohans to hold down slot 1. You're going to have UI Gokus running around, Evolution Blue Vegeta, still Evolution Blue Vegeta, and then you have access to 10th Anniversary Gohan as well as Super Saiyan 4 Goku. So this team has a lot of versatility because of the characters that you could run on it. If you want to take off like Evolution Blue and Tech UI, you could do something like this, right? These setups work just fine. You could bring this Broly, that Namek Goku. Then it does get a little bit tight as you get down here, though. It's going to be slim pickings. I guess like for future reference, if this Super Easy A is insane, I think that we could potentially see something pretty crazy with that, right? But we are kind of just waiting a little bit to see so far. So right now, I think this is a really good setup for Gohan. But you guys just have to keep in mind, he is on so many teams. I'm trying to kind of keep this concise, where it's like these are going to be the best options. But like Bond and Master and Disciple, very good team still. A lot of really good options there. Bond and Parent Child is still missing an option there. Kamehameha and Demonic Power is also going to be a really good setup for Gohan. So we'll talk about Demonic Power, and then Kamehameha is basically the Vegito lead at this point. But with Demonic Power in specific, I think that this team has a very interesting sort of setup, right? So what you want to do, it's pretty simple. What we do is we just set up Glorio, And when we bring Glorio in here, wherever he may be, Mr. Glorio, then what we want to do is run a rotation for Gohan. So Beast Gohan with Super Saiyan 2, right? This is like how you want to set that up, free and easy, right? And then it's kind of like things do get a little bit trickier here. But what you could do is just run like a really solid rotation with like a slot 1 or something like that. So like you could run like Buhan with Kid Buu, and honestly like this works in most content. And then you want to have like one more floating character that could potentially just be somebody that's not going to lose you runs. And I think that that's going to work out pretty well for you, right? Somebody like, not Exchange Buu. I'm just trying to see if like, who's like a character that goes into slot 3 and holds it down for us pretty well, right? Lots of options, clearly. What you would want to do is go to Accelerated Battle is what you'd want to do. You don't want to go pure Demonic Power here. You go Accelerated Battle, and then you can put both of these guys on here. So like what you could potentially do is just take these characters off, run something like this, and then boom, there you go. That's a really good setup, and you get access to Glorio and essentially all of the new LRs. So that's a really good setup for Gohan and Vegito, or not Vegito, Gogeta. Let's go ahead and quickly talk about Goku and Frieza, and then I can let you guys go. What I found with Goku and Frieza, really the best setup for them is just running them on their 220% lead and having 2 of them based on the support that they have. So you can run them on the Gogeta team, you can run them on the Vegito team, they work just fine. And they just have just an abundance of categories, right? We go right here, you guys can see like they might be the record holder, I'm not sure, but they are on so many teams. So I'm not gonna go individually for builds for all of these, but like right now, relevant teams, Battle of Fate, U7, Universe Survival Saga, Transformation Boost, right? Those are real teams at the moment. We kind of keep going. Some of these teams are good, but not great, but we're just going to stick to the good ones, right? Kamehameha, Full Power, Pure Saiyans. We got Bond of Parent Child. That's a real team right now. Not really, because it doesn't have a lead, but basically all the characters are on it. Superheroes, right? Kamehameha, we already talked about that. Earthbred Fighters, Goku Family, Pure Saiyans, Successors, Earth Protecting Heroes. Are you on Earth Protecting Heroes? You are not. So that is sort of like the setup for this, but when it comes to this guy, I'm literally just going to focus on their 220% lead. So this is kind of like the setup I like to run. You go Frieza, we go Beast Gohan, we go Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, and then we kind of continue to look and we see Super Saiyan 3 Goku is on this team. I like running AGL UI, and then last but not least, for this setup, you kind of get a free space of who you need situationally for the event. I like Tech UI Goku. I think Full Power Frieza can kind of work, but I would rather just focus on the Superclass edition of this team. The Extreme Class has a little bit to go, but something like Namek Goku, Angel Vegeta, lots of really good characters that work in that specific spot. So there you guys have it, the best teams for the 10th anniversary LRs for part 2 as of now. The Gogeta team will look a little bit better here in about 2 weeks or so, maybe a little bit over a week, assuming that the 7-year EZAs get their things because they are on the 250% for the Gogeta leader skill. But let me know down below what you guys think, what team are you guys running them on, how your summons went, all of that fun stuff in the comment section below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you all in the next one.